Namaskar. Welcome to one more episode of What Does This Data Say? During elections, our politicians and their supporters come up with all kinds of statements. True, untrue, sometimes vague, and sometimes downright silly. It is in this context today I will discuss the issue of NRIs and migrants. While the BJP and its supporters claim that many non-resident Indians have started to return to the country because of the good policies of the Modi government. Meanwhile, the opposition says the reverse, that many Indians are leaving the country because of the policies of the same Modi government. So today I'll get into this issue in detail and try to pull out some data. Questions related to this issue have also been raised in our parliament. Last year, Karti Chidambaram had asked the Minister of State for Home, Mr. Nityanand Rai, that whether there has been an increase in the number of people seeking OCI cards. OCI stands for Overseas Citizens of India. He also wanted data regarding the Indian citizenships and the people living abroad. A similar question was asked by the TRS Member of Parliament, Mr. K. Prabhakar Reddy, who wanted to know the data regarding the number of Indians who have renounced their citizenship during the last 7 years. Now, the government did give a reply, and it's quite unfortunate that the data given in the two questions, there was a slight mismatch. Even the historical data there did not match for the same question. Anyway, I'll take the data which was given as a written reply to Mr. Prabhakar Reddy. So here is the data which was given by the Ministry of Home Affairs regarding the number of people who have renounced their citizenship. Now, if you observe here, from 2015 to 2019, more or less it's a constant figure. It varies between 1,31,000 to 1,44,000, but there is no indication of any great upward or downward trend. 2020 was a corona year, the embassies did not fully function, so the OCI processing was also less. Again, till this year, 1,11,287 people have renounced their citizenship last year till 2021, and I believe by the year end it will again go over to the average of around 1,40,000. A few more data points were given by the minister. The total number of people who have given up their citizenship since 2015 is 8,81,254, and the total number of NRIs is 1,24,99,395 as of September 2021. I have given you the data regarding the number of people who renounced their citizenship, which is around 1,40,000 per year. I'll now talk of Overseas Citizens of India. Now, Overseas Citizens of India is a facility given by the Government of India where the people enjoy almost close to a dual citizenship. OCIs have almost all the rights except voting rights, and they cannot hold agriculture property, and some more small points are there. For instance, the spouses of Indians who gave up their citizenship are also eligible for the OCI card, as well as their children. And also people who migrated very long ago, centuries ago, they can also apply for OCI. So OCI holders will in general be much more than people who just renounce their Indian citizenship. According to the government, as on 2020, there were 36,99,476 OCI card holders. So here is the data given by the government regarding the OCI card holders. The scheme started around 2005-2006. It gradually picked up popularity, and then we see a peak around 2016 and 2017. Now, before you jump to any conclusion, the peak is because of a different reason. You may recall that earlier we used to have two kind of cards for the citizens of other countries. It was the PIO card and the OCI cards. In 2014, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced that these two cards will be merged into a single card. That was implemented on 9th January 2015, and people were given a 2-year period to convert their PIO cards into OCI cards. And that is the reason you see a sudden rush of OCI card holders in 2015, 16 and 17. Otherwise, it has been a steady, gradual increase over the years. We cannot therefore deduce that the increase was due to any political dispensation. So that was the data regarding the overseas citizens of India. OCIs are not necessarily people who migrated from India. People who went out and then they married outside and had children, they also become OCIs. And as I said, people who went long ago also are OCIs. What we need now to know is the migration data. That will tell you exactly how many Indians have gone out of the country. So let's dip into this data. So this is the India immigration statistics. The yellow line here gives you the number of people who have migrated before that year till date. That means in 1960 there were 94,10,535 migrants, and gradually this figure has come down to 2015 we had only 52,40,960 migrants. So over the years the migrant population has been declining. Two reasons for this: the people who migrate, then there is a natural process of elimination due to the age, they die, and lesser people are going abroad. So over the years, this is rather surprising and probably against general belief that lesser people are going out of the country. In 1960, we had 2.1% of the population migrating out, and by the time 2015 the figure has come down to just 0.4% of our population. The declining trend will be much more visible. I'll just zoom into a small part of the graph from 1990 till 2019, and you see in 2019 there is 51,54,737 people who have migrated so far. This data has been taken from the United Nations Population Division. The definition of a migrant is very simple. The data is collected on foreign born population, that is people who have residence in a country and are citizens of that country but were not born there. So in 2020 we have roughly about 50 lakh migrant population. I now take you through the trend of migration, that is yearly how many people are leaving or coming into the country. This is the year-wise net migration curve of India. Initially in the 50s and 60s there was hardly any migration out of the country. Any line which I am showing here above this white line, if it's positive, it means more people have come into the country, and if it is below this white line, it means people have gone out. So then there was a period from 70 onwards up till around 1998 when there was an influx of people continuously into the country. Net migration rate became positive. This is a time when we had the Bangladesh influx, people from Afghanistan, Uganda, etc. had come into the country. By 1990 the trend reversed. More people started going out, and this suddenly increased at the turn of the century. Now I'll zoom in into a small portion of this graph, which is the interesting part of this discussion. Same graph, I'll zoom in into the area from 2014 onwards. Now if you look at this graph, you will see that from 2014 till 2018, the net migration went on increasing. 2019 onward, there is a net decrease in the values of the yearly migrants. The bars shown in yellow are estimates. So 2021, the estimate is 4,96,000, and 2022 it will further come down to 4,81,000. So from 2018 till 2022, if you just project that part of the graph, it will look like that less people are migrating out, whereas if you project the graph from 2014 to 2018, it looks like more people are leaving the country. Now this graph has been used by the political parties the way they want to. The first part is shown by people who say that because of Modi, people are leaving the country, whereas the Modi supporters keep showing the last half of the graph, saying that is not true. People are in fact less people are going out, and they say that many more people since they have come in. This is a declining trend. So let us compute the Indian diaspora value as per the data given by the Government of India and from the United Nations. The total number of Indians abroad, that is the NRI category, is 1,24,99,395. The migrants in 2019 were 51,54,737. That adds up to roughly 17.6 million people. This is the value you will keep hearing about in our news and media. 18 million people constitute about 1.3% of the Indian population today, and that is by no means a small amount of people. So we have computed the number of OCI card holders, we have computed the number of migrants, and we know the NRI population abroad. With this data, we should be able to answer those two questions. However, one more little data is left out, that is the movement of people across our borders, which will give you an indication of the NRI population movement. Here is the graph of the net immigration of India from 2015 to 2020. Please distinguish between net migration and net immigration. Net immigration means if we count the number of people who are crossing our borders, that is all the airports, all the seaports and the land crossing points. If we count at each place how many came in and how many went out and subtract that figure, that gives you the net immigration of that place. This I have plotted for 5 years. 2015 is in blue color, the next one is 2016, and these are all color coded up to 2020. On this side, I have plotted the quarters. Q1 is January to March, Q2 April to June, Q3 July September, and Q4 September December, and here is the year-wise total of net immigration. Now, if you see here, the Q4 is traditionally a period when more people come into India. This is the zero line. Anything on this side is net inflow, and anything on outside is net outflow. So, and these people are mostly the tourist and the NRI population which comes home during the winter break in Europe and US. They all then thereafter go back in the following Q1 of the next year. For instance, this yellow line here represents the year 2018, when many more people came and tourism was very high that year. They went out in 2019, and that's this blue line which shows that all of them went out. So if we now compute the average, which I'll show you in a table, you will come to know how many people went abroad during these 5 years. These figures does represent anyone who is leaving the country and anyone who is coming in. The tourists who come in will all go out, so that effect is cancelled when we compute the net figure. Same as business people who travel, that effect gets cancelled because they come back to the country. So this table shows you the year-wise net migration. 2015, more than a million people went out of the country. Thereafter, it dipped suddenly, and again it went up in the year 2019. The next year was a corona year, so we don't take these figures as any representation. However, again you see there is no absolute trend here. Net migration has been there of about 3.7 million people who went out in these 5 years. The average was around little over 600,000 people. Now here is an interesting survey done by Nupur Dave, which the survey is available on her page on LinkedIn, and this was done in 2018. Nupur Dave helps NRI to resettle back in India. Now she asked many NRIs, do you want to move back to India? And the answer was that 28.7% were undecided, 27% said yes, 24.7% are confused, and 14.6% downright said no. The remaining were in two categories of people who temporarily want to come or said they will come back after retirement. Nupur again asked a question to people who had said yes, they want to come after some time, and the answers were quite interesting and rather funny at times. Nupur says that people, whoever says yes, they hardly or never come back to India. When the time comes, they have a lot of excuses, and some of the top excuses are salary is not par in India, type of job is not good, Indian infrastructure is not good, work environment is not good, Indian society is not good, Indians are lazy, women's salary is less, spouse not willing, kids education, and so on. The list becomes endless. So she says that it requires a lot of determination to come back, and which hardly ever happens. You might also want to know how many foreigners have entered India over the years. So here's the data on this. India is also one of the world's top destinations for international migrants. As of 2015, about 5.2 million immigrants live in India, making us the 12th largest immigrant population in the world. Now this is very surprising. The majority of migrants into India have come from Bangladesh, which is 3.2 million, Pakistan 1.1 million, Nepal 540,000, and Sri Lanka 160,000. Apart from this, people have come in from Tibet, Uganda, and Afghanistan. 5.2 million migrants in India is as on 2015. Now, is this figure going up or is it coming down? To get this data, I had to do some research, and we found one paper which was written by Ronald Skeldon on migration patterns in India during the 70s, and he has put together these figures that in 1971 we had 7.3 million migrants in India, and in 1981 it came down to 6.1, and now it is around 5.2 in 2015. So overall there is a reduction in number of migrants, which in turn means that no new migrations are happening to that large extent anymore. India is not a country known to be migrant friendly. Look at the statistics for granting the number of citizenships. We have been very choosy in granting our citizenships. Total number of citizenships granted in the last 5 years is only 4,844, bulk of them coming last year. That was 1,773 citizenship were granted. This is despite the pending approval of the CEA Act, but however the Modi government has been fast in disposing of some cases. So now we have enough data to answer the two questions. Now before I do that, I'll just show you some data which may be of interest to you. First is, where are all our migrants going? Here I am showing the top 3 countries where Indians are going. On top of the list is United Arab Emirates, where 3.5 million Indians are currently staying. In the second position is United States, where 2.7 million people are staying, and at third place it is Saudi Arabia, where 2.5 million people stay. Now if you total this is about 9 million. So 50% of our migrant population or NRIs are staying in these three countries. So I'll end this episode on a rather happy note. One last data which I want to show you is about net remittances sent by our NRIs and the immigrants from abroad. If you look at this figure, the net remittances in India are going up. 2020 is this side, 2010 is this side, this order is in reverse. The red line shows India, the yellow line is China, blue is Mexico, and green is Philippines. Now 2010, the net remittance to India was $53.5 billion. This has gone up to $83.1 billion in 2020. Remember, the number of people going abroad is going down, NRIs is going down, migrants is going down, which only means that the net value earned by our Indian NRIs and migrants is going up. They are getting better jobs, better paid, so they are able to send more money back home. So regarding those two questions, well, there is no data to suggest that either one of them is true. No, people are not going out because of Modi government, and neither they are coming back because of the Modi government. Going abroad is a very personal decision. It's a financial, social and many other issues one considers. It has hardly anything to do with the political dispensation within the country. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll meet you again next week with something interesting. Till then, Namaskar.